Artists, today we are going to be starting a winter landscape. And what we're going to be doing in the background is we're going to use chalk pastel to create a northern lights scene. A northern lights can also be known as Aurora Borealis. That's the scientific name for them. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to create a curved line on a piece of paper to use. And you kind of want the curved line to be a long curve, so you don't want a bunch of small curves. So a long curved line. So I'm just cutting a curved line. I'm trying to be as round as possible. And this is what we're going to be using when we do our northern lights. If you've ever seen the northern lights, you'll know that there's a lot of really pretty greens, blues, purples, and pinks. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this paper up with some northern lights, and it's a really fun way to do this. It's actually using chalk pastels. Now chalk pastels are very messy, and you're going to be smearing them. So if you have long sleeves, you're going to want to push your sleeves up, and what we're doing is we are going to be putting our chalk along the edges of this white piece of paper, and then we are going to be placing it onto the black paper and smearing up. So you can use your extra piece of white paper kind of as a placemat. So I'm going to maybe start with some of those lime greens, and I'm just going to rub that green right along the edge, and I might take my light blue and kind of go here. You can do multiple colors on each line, or you can just choose one color. So I'm going to lay down some of those northern light colors. You're going to take your curved paper, you're going to place it anywhere on your black paper. You're going to take your finger and you are going to push that chalk up onto the black paper. So I am smearing up onto the black paper. And when I remove that white paper, you will see a really cool northern light shape. And we can repeat this over and over. We're going to use our placemat. We can do the same colors, or you can cut another curvy line on your paper if you want to experiment with some different colors. As long as you have a curvy line and your chalk pastels, you'll be following those same directions. So I'm going to add some colors. Remember, blues, greens, and purples. Sometimes pinks are really pretty for this. And then you're going to take that curved paper, put it somewhere on your black paper, and push that chalk up so it transfers onto your black paper. Now this is going to be really messy. So I'm going to have a baby wipe at your tables so that you can wipe your fingers off when needed. And if you get chalk dust on your paper, it's okay. We'll be able to take care of it when we're done. Once you're satisfied with the sky area of your northern light scene, we are going to make sure that any extra chalk either gets smeared onto your paper or you can carefully shake it off over the trash. Our next step is to create what's going to be in the middle ground. We're going to be adding a painted black silhouette of a landscape and some silhouettes of some pine trees. Our next step is to take some black tempera paint, and what I want you to think about is, where do you want your land to be? We don't want our land to be a straight line. We want our land to kind of look realistic, kind of curvy. This is basically going to be a silhouette, so that means it's going to be solid black. So you're going to take your black paint and you're going to figure out where you want your land to be, and you are going to paint a horizon line. So a horizon line is where the earth and the sky meet. So I've decided that my horizon line is a little bit curvy here. And we are actually going to fill in your paper. Even though it's black paper, we want this black paint to get filled in. So that way we have a nice solid silhouette to work with. So I've got my area for my horizon line, and now I'm just filling it in with black paint. And you can add a little bit of water to your paint if you need to, but go ahead and fill in your horizon line with black paint. once you've got your horizon line filled in, we're going to create silhouettes of pine trees. Now this is a really fun technique that I'm going to show you, and you can do as many pine tree silhouettes as you would like. Some can be big, some can be small, but you want to make sure that you do leave some of your northern lights showing. So here's how I'm going to teach you how to make a pine tree silhouette. You're going to use your brush straight up and down. And the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to just push your brush as tall as you want that first tree to be. Then, still going just straight up and down, you are going to carefully do the edges of your pine tree. And if you think about a pine tree, you can think about how they are kind of triangle shaped. So one side is going to angle down to the right, the other side is going to angle down to the left. But we are using just the edge of our brush to create those trees. And usually the pine trees are wider at the bottom and skinnier at the top. And you can do as many of these trees as you would like. Remember, some can be small, some can be short, some can be tall, some can be wide. Start with one line in the middle and just use the edge of that brush to go out on an angle. Remember that they are usually wider at the base and skinnier at the top. These are just silhouettes, so they look like shadows. I think I'm going to add one more small one over here. So one more time, the base or the middle of the tree, and then out on an angle. And just make sure that you leave some of your northern lights visible. Don't get too tree crazy.